Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Viessa. We got the Viessa build almost done. She's pretty much like 95% done, I'll say. Um, I managed to do a lot of farming now. I promised you guys I was going to make a Viessa build video, so here it is. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about her weapon. We're going to talk about her components. We're going to talk about her reactor, her modules, and what you can do. Now, unfortunately, because of how high invested I got into her build, there's not a lot of room to switch modules out, which is it kind of sucks. I hope Nexon like fixes that because the investment is insane. So I'm gonna talk about the pros and cons of my build, and to let you guys know so you can make the decision for yourself as to whether or not you want to copy it or if it's something that you kind of want to tweak and do your own things. I'll offer up suggestions for certain mods for you. So hopefully that this all helps. But let's first start off with our weapon and why I chose Clairvoyance. So I chose Clairvoyance because I think Clairvoyance is probably one of her best in slot, if not her best in slot weapon, for multiple reasons. The main reason is going to be its unique ability. So the unique ability of Clairvoyance is hitting an enemy with a stage 2 beam inflicts Void Gaze on a target. Hitting an enemy with a stage 3 beam inflicts Appalled Calling on the target. This effect is considered to be the same effect as Frostbite in some modes. So, what the stage 2 beam means for anyone who doesn't use beam rifles, when you fire a beam rifle, that bar off to the side, I'm in stage 1, now I'm in stage 2. As you can see, the beam got bigger, and then on that third blue bar right there, that's stage 3. So when we get the stage 3 of the beam, that's when I start inflicting frost on a target. So that's really good, and I'm going to explain why when we get to her components. So going back to the unique ability of the Clairvoyance. So in stage 2, you give an enemy minus 20% chill resistance, and this is only at the first stage, so when you just unlock the weapon. I don't have another Clairvoyance as of yet. I'm going to go out and go farm some more. But when I go out and farm more, this number right here, I know 100% will decrease. And I'm pretty confident that once you get all of them, this is going to be 0%, meaning that I can get up that stage 2 and stage 3 much faster, thus increasing the DPS. I have no idea if Void Gaze and Appalled Calling is also going to get boosted. I'm hoping this does, but you know, I just know that this 100% is going to be decreased. But the chill resistance is very important for Viessa because that just means when we use our abilities and stuff like that, any enemy that we're attacking is just going to take more damage from our attacks, right? Especially if they're continuous attack damage. And as well as the fact that I have innate chill on my Clairvoyance. So because my Clairvoyance has innate chill effect on it, that just means that it's going to do more damage after a while too. So it's really nice. So I highly recommend this weapon if you're going to try to copy the build, because when you get to stage 3, again, you slow down enemies, which is really important because hypothermia, which is the main module we're going to be running for this build, or at least that I'm running, you remove ice shackles. So let's talk about this real quick before we go back to it. So with hypothermia, what hypothermia does is hypothermia is going to remove our passive ability from ice shackles to ice needles. And what ice needles does is ice needles will now create like dot ticks on any enemy that we attack with any skill that we use. So we will no longer slow down enemies. We're just going to do more damage to them continuously. So that's why it's really important that we use Clairvoyance, so that way we can actually get those actions done. I'll be honest with you, from what I tested inside like Colossal fights, I don't think this affects Colossus at all. From when I'm like fighting a Colossus, I'm pretty sure Colossus don't get slowed down, but they do get the chill resistance though. So that is nice to use against Colossus. Looking at the weapon here, as far as the weapon goes, as of right now, I'm running action reaction. The reason why I'm using action reaction for my Clairvoyance is because it doesn't have recoil. It's a beam rifle, so this is just a free 61% firearm attack, which is just pretty nice. I'm running obviously just regular rifle reinforcement because it's 32, so that gives us just regular like more damage overall. Better concentration is another thing I'm running for crit damage because Clairvoyance actually crits pretty well. It crits a lot, right? So with how much crit that this has, I do have better concentration on, just so that way I can do more damage. Now, Snowflake Conductor, you can switch this out. I was switching it out before I was testing it with Frigid Burn, and Frigid Burn is a module that I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. And the reason why I don't like it is because it only works when you're firing from a distance. And this is something that I would still recommend if it's a playstyle that works for you. But for the playstyle that I was playing and utilizing and stuff like that, I'm usually like really close up on top of like the colossi or enemies, um, because I want to apply ice needles to them when I pop my B or her second ability. So with that being said, it's I don't always get that 78% chill attack as additional damage. So I just so it's not a bad module. It's just one of those modules where it's like for me it just felt a little bit too niche. So I replaced it with my Snowflake Conductor, so that way I'm constantly always having like an extra 26% damage increase on my weapon. Now, if you don't want all this damage, I know that sounds weird. You can switch it up for something else. Like maybe you want to put like another like chill mod on and amplify your chill attack, so you can switch out whatever you want. Like maybe your rifling reinforcement and just keep the action reaction because recoil on this is non-existent. You can keep the bigger buff from the firearm attack here, or for action reaction. Get rid of rifling reinforcement and replace it with something like refrigerate gun barrel, whatever module you want. Maybe you want weak point, something like that. Whatever helps your playstyle, right? Um, I have super conductivity charge because this is going to increase my charge speed, so I can get to the second and third stages faster. That also increases our damage because we want to get that chill resistance on our enemies quicker, as well as do more damage in general with the clairvoyance. Because compared to other weapons, it doesn't really hold a candle to some weapons DPS. I'll be honest, but the unique ability is what makes it great. So we want to get to that second and third stage much faster and get those big bursts of damage off and actually help melt bosses. So superconductivity charge, better insight for more critical hit rate, and then we're running fire rate up, so that way the beam just ticks a little bit faster and also builds charge slightly faster. Now I don't think it builds a charge crazy fast. I like it might be a placebo, but from when I'm using fire rate up, it does feel as if the beam is going up a little bit faster. I could be wrong. Um, I want to say it does affect the beam, but again, that could be placebo. I could just be like, just in my head, seeing it a certain way, and it's not actually happening. So if you are aware of that or whatever, and you know the actual answer to this, please just let us know down in the comment section below. And if it's a placebo effect, you can switch this mod out if you like. Concentrate support ammo I'm running because I wanted the larger magazine as well as more firearm critical hit damage, because again this weapon crits a lot. But I wanted the larger magazine because when you get to stage 3, like you really don't get a lot of like time to fire it because the magazine was already so short. So by the time you get to stage 3 beam normally, you're just kind of like, oh well, I only got like 2 or 3 ticks and now it's done. So just so I can get more damage off, I did put the bigger magazine on so I can stay in stage 3 a little bit longer when using the beam. And then fatal critical, just for the firearm critical hit damage and firearm critical hit rate. Now, I'm unsure as to what I want to put in my final slot. I was thinking that I was going to probably mess around with slow art. And then another part of me was like, nah, I should probably put more chill attack on for Viessa and go with more. So I'm either going to throw like another crit damage mod on or something, whether it be more critical hit rate with a little bit of crit damage, or I'm probably just gonna put on like something for like more chill attack. I'm leaning more so towards chill, like chill attack and reload time modifier and all that stuff, like chill priority, just because, you know, more chill the better. Um, so that's the clairvoyance. That's what we're running on the weapon as of right now. So backing out of the weapon, we're gonna look at my reactor. This is a reactor I got lucky with. I didn't know I had it. I just randomly farmed it one day. And I just it was just sitting in my inventory, and I just said, you know what, that might come in handy, and I just kept it, right? And guess what, it did. So this one has skill critical hit damage on it, and it's gold, so that's awesome. Unfortunately, it has a tech skill power boost, and because I'm running hypothermia, that's pretty much a dead stat for me. She has no tech skill power boost ratios when you run hypothermia. Like none of her abilities are tech damage. So if you're not running hypothermia, this would be a really good module for you, but I was hoping to get something different, so I might farm another one in the future, but that's what my reactor looked like. So definitely when you farm these reactors and you're looking for one for Viessa and you're gonna run a clairvoyance, I would definitely look for something that works for you, whether it be skill duration, skill cooldown, preferably skill cooldown. I'll be honest, or skill critical hit and skill crit damage and all that stuff. Just because crit rate up, crit rate down, or crit rate damage. Sorry, is very 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 important in general. But you don't necessarily hardcore need it. It's just you can't go wrong with them, you know. So that's my reactor. And then as far as components go, I am running the Polar Knight set. And the reason why I'm running Polar Knight set is because this works great with Clairvoyance. So we get the chill skill power increase just from the two piece, which is really nice. And then for each frostbite stack inflicted upon enemies, firearm critical hit damage goes up by 1.7%. Skill critical hit damage goes up by 6%, up to 10 stacks for 5 seconds of duration at a 30% chance. When defeating the enemy inflicted with frostbite, inflicts additional damage equivalent to 12.2% of the enemy's max HP on enemies with a 2.5 meter radius at 30% chance. So, again, that is really good for clairvoyance as well as just our abilities in general, because clairvoyance is going to be doing chill attack, so it's going to be applying frost. And then when you get again to the unique ability like stage 3, you're applying frostbite to enemies, so you're getting a stack of frostbite essentially, right? At a 30% chance. And because it's a beam rifle, it just works great. So it should be constantly keep applying it when I'm attacking enemies. So if I was to do this, sorry, I didn't realize I had no ammo. If I was to shoot an enemy, all those frostbite ticks, I got Polar Knight. Saw a Polar Knight stack pop up right there. It's pretty nice. And we got another Polar Knight stack again. So you can see the little green icon off to the side. So this is why Clairvoyance is really good with this set. Now let's move on to the meat and potatoes. Oh, actually, before we move on to the meat and potatoes, I don't have the best substats on components. This is also going to massively affect your build for Viessa and choose how you want to play. So before I switch to my modules, let's talk about the components. So for my component substats, I have a max HP. This will give me an overall boost to my HP, making it a little bit tankier. And then I do have a max HP and max NP, as well as MP recovery in combat, so I can spill my abilities a little bit more. I'm not going to lie to you, I would kind of like a little bit more HP. I don't necessarily need it, because I feel like my Viessa is tanky as is. Like, I can survive very well for the most part and take a couple hits. But it just wouldn't hurt to just be, like, super tanky. I do have defense on this one. I don't know if these pieces are always going to drop shield and stuff like that, so I might have to go on farm more. So I'm running defense for the substat, and that's why this one I decided to keep. It does have max shield on. If I can get a defense main stat, if possible, I would rather do a defense. Although Viessa's shield does regen when she pops her second ability, it's still just kind of nice just to have more HP defense. Like, she's tanky, right? She can take some hits. She's a good girl. And then I'm running max HP and max shield again on my processor. That's just because that's all I got to drop, unfortunately. So I have to go out and go farm a better set and hopefully get more ideal rolls. But that is what I'm using. What you decide to run is totally up to you. I would just recommend some more defense and some more HP for sure, so that way you don't have to like be as reliant on your modules, and you can free up some space and choose how you want to build. So now let's look at my descendant modules and let's talk about Viessa. So as I said in the beginning, I'm running hypothermia for this build, and the reason why I'm using hypothermia is just because I like the dot ticks of hypothermia. So this changes ice shackle to ice needles for more damage, and the pro in that is that, say like you're doing a avoid intercept battle and you're, LFG playing with randoms, someone's lacking damage. I like always having 100% damage uptime on bosses as much as possible. No downtime, right? So that's the benefit to me with hypothermia and why I think it's one of the better bossing modules. Now, that's just my opinion when it comes to just keeping continuous damage on, right? I understand arguments for other modules. It's just, for me, I just like always keeping damage going at all costs with no downtime. So that's why I like hypothermia a lot, and it does just that. Um, I am running chill specialist for chill skill power, just because I want to give a boost to my chill damage overall. This one you can kind of switch out if you'd like to with something else because you are getting a little bit of chill skill power from like your your set bonus from your components and stuff. As well as you can use like glacial Synctium, which I will mention in this video. I'll showcase to you what's going on. I am using Nimble Fingers because I want skill cooldown, so I can do bigger damage with my Frost Shards. I also want to get my Frost Road back as fast as possible, and then I also like Cold Snap a lot because it's another good wave of damage, so I can always just keep damaging bosses and doing massive amounts of DPS. And then I was trying to build my Viessa around her 4. I only managed to bring it down to 36.1 seconds because, well, unfortunately, the way the investment system works in this game, I was already invested in building stuff to just see how high her damage numbers could go, and then I had no choice but to just commit to what I was doing because, well, then I'll have to like re-unforma something, which is just way too much resources. So I had no choice but to commit, right? So I try to leave you guys some wiggle room here for your transcendent slot as well as a bonus slot. So we'll talk about it. Now, Singular Specialist, you're probably wondering, why do I have Singular Specialist on Viessa? Sorry. Again, that's because Singular Specialist is perfect for Viessa in terms of her 4th ability. I was building her around her 4, and it doesn't just affect her 4th ability, by the way, guys. It affects her Ice Needles. Her Ice Needles is considered singular damage, and this is the thing that's going to constantly be applying damage all the time. So I know that when people see Hypothermia, they're like, oh, it's just changing her 4 to singular, but all her other abilities are all fusion. So why would I not put like a fusion in versus singular? Well, in my opinion, if you're going to run singular, or if you're going to run hypothermia, it's best to run singular specialist because all of these abilities are all affected by Ice Needle, right? All these abilities apply Ice Needle are damage over time, and that is what I want to amplify, right? Is my dot ticks. So that's why I'm running singular specialist. And then time distribution I do have equipped. You can replace this if you'd like to. I'm just using it because of skill cooldown again, as well as some survivability to my max HP. So that is huge. Battle of Stamina I'm also using because more survivability, more max HP, plus more skill duration. So that's also nice. It doesn't really increase my duration by much, but it's another 0.5 seconds, so I can probably get like an extra 1 to 2 dot ticks, right? So there's that. And then obviously my famous module, skill concentration, just so I can have more skill critical hit damage because we are going to be getting some skill critical hits. And if you don't want to use skill insight, don't worry, I got you. I thought about all this so you don't have to, right? I will still recommend skill concentration though for you. I would say leave this one on, but you can remove skill insight because we can get crit from somewhere else, and I'll tell you exactly where when we get there again. So going back, we got emergency measures for more skill critical hit rate as well, and more skill critical hit damage. I would definitely keep emergency measures on, if anything, as well, so you can get that extra boost to your hit rate as well as skill critical hit damage. I set as well like 20 times. Front lines, again, just because I want more skill critical hit damage. The raw damage is awesome. Spear and shield. Now, this isn't exactly what I'm running. I have this here as a placeholder to showcase to you a free slot that you can mess around with. Because like I said, I wanted to leave you with something to play with if you do like the build, but you want to tweak it to yourself. So Spear and Shield we're using because if you decide to upgrade this, you'll get a massive boost to your defense, and you just get a little bit of skill power, which obviously lets you do more damage. Some modules I would replace with this, if you decide you want to, you can use Multi-Talented if you like. Multi-Talented isn't too bad. What this one does is when using the Dimension active skill cooldowns minus 20.5%. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a dimension. When using the Fusion active skill cost is minus 6.1%, and duration goes up by 6.1% for 5 seconds. So you get a little bit of duration, a little bit of skill cost. Luckily, all three of her first abilities are fusion skills. When using the Tech active skill range and power modifier goes up by plus 15% for 5 seconds. Now, because we are using hypothermia in this sense, she will not get that benefit from tech because she doesn't have a tech ability. You can ignore that. But when using the singular active skill, all attribute damage goes up by plus 30% for 5 seconds. Only one of the effects is applied. So this one, again, when we pop our fourth ability, we'll get an attribute damage of 30%. So there's that. So that's why you can also replace Chill Specialist if you want to, and you can put on like something else in that place. You're getting boosts from other things if you decide you want to go multi-talented. So it won't be too bad in that sense. Another thing you can replace multi-talented with, another module I thought about is Preemptive Strike. So let me show you Preemptive Strike. Preemptive Strike, I think will work wonders on her too. So on skill attack upon enemies with max HP, deals 8.5% of the skill damage incurred as additional damage on a target. Now, I don't know what the actual number is when you actually upgrade this and max it out. But since we have 2 HP modules here, one for max HP, another one for another max HP, that's just more damage. So you can play with that if you'd like, if you want to just, dabble with it. A really good one, though, for Viessa. Now, this one I would not recommend for hypothermia. I'd recommend this for cold-bloodedness, right? Is Dangerous Ambush. Because this one, when landing a skill attack while the enemy is not targeting you, skill power goes up by plus 6%. On skill attack against an immobilized enemy, skill power is plus 12%. So that is really, really, really good for Viessa, because obviously if you're going to be freezing enemies with ice shackles, they're going to be immobilized, so you're getting more damage. And then if they're not attacking you in general, you just have more damage. So Dangerous Ambush is really good for Viessa, and it is one that I would highly recommend if you decide you don't want to do hypothermia. With hypothermia, it's just kind of like you're not really getting the immobilized one because you're not really immobilizing enemies. You can kind of immobilize enemies with like clairvoyance, but again, clairvoyance didn't really feel like it was working against Colossus. I could be wrong. When I snapped my finger, for the most part, like Pyromancer, he was just like, I don't know, maybe because when I snapped my fourth ability on Pyro, like I was breaking him quite a bit. I'll do a video somewhere in this recording of me just showcasing how I play with this whole setup too, just to showcase to you. So, but yeah, it's pretty weird. So you could use Dangerous Ambush. I think it's gonna be really good, but I wouldn't run it too much with hypothermia. I'll do it with something else with Viessa. Arcade Acceleration is another one that I would put in here for a replacement. So the reason why I like Arcade Acceleration is this isn't like a super crazy module. This is just more of like a quality of life module. So with this module, her projectile speed is increased, which is really nice, especially when you have like her passive ability, her Ice Needles. It'll fire off projectiles much faster and just hit targets. So it's just more of a quality of life thing. Replacement of her ults stuff. It's not actually increasing the dot ticks, I don't believe, but you do also get more range off it. So that's also really nice. So Arcade Acceleration, really good. I would recommend it. It's just a quality of life module that feels nice. So it is one I just want to throw out there for recommendation. Amplification Control is another one that I think you might like. This one is just more skill effect range in general, and then you get more max shield, which Viessa, luckily, as you know, when she pops her 2, she recharges her shield. So more max shield doesn't hurt, more survivability in that sense. On top of that, based on what kind of component set you got with Polar Knight, more shield in general. Then you have just more range, making it easier for you to catch bosses and mobs inside the dot ticks to do what you want. So it's just really, really nice. I would recommend that one too as another module for you as a recommendation. And then I feel like I'm missing one. So we did Spear and Shield. Glacial Sensitium. That is one that I was using for a while. So Glacial Sensitium, this one is really good as well. This will give you critical hit resistance, and this will also give you chill skill power of 10.2%. So again, if you decide to, run multi-talented, whatever the case may be, and you got the Polar Night set going on, and Glacial Synthetium. You probably don't want too much Chill Specialist. You might be like, that's kind of like obsessive. I kind of want to do something different. You can replace it and use this instead. So the critical hit resistance, it just makes it to where bosses don't do crits to you, so they're not going to just do like that random big burst of damage that just really like hurts you a lot. You're actually reducing that, so it's pretty nice. And then you're just getting a little boost in your chill skill power. That's all it is. A little boost in damage with some more defensive capabilities. Can't go wrong there, you know? And it does affect, again, your ice needles. So as you can see, we're doing 91k now, a tick, and all that good jazz. So it's pretty nice. And these are level 100 enemies with high resistance. On enemies lower, I do like around like 2.6 mil or something like that. I can even hit like almost a 2 mil on Pyromaniac hard mode. So that's one I'd recommend. So those are the modules right there that I would recommend. If you're gonna replace hypothermia, again, cold bloodedness would be the next best thing, because this will drop your cooldowns significantly. So I go from like 60 seconds to 36.1, but when I pop my ability, so let's say I did, I don't know, I'm just gonna pop my B with this free skill power, throw this thing down. Cold bloodedness, not as much damage right off rip, but it's still pretty good. Instantly freezing enemies, and then my cooldown now with that up should be, it drops all the way down to 24.1 seconds with cold bloodedness, because you get like a 20% decrease to your cooldown and a 20% increase to skill power. So it's not as strong as hypothermia in terms of just the raw damage output, but it is effective in a lot of areas, right? So you can choose how you want to play. So the pros and cons to my build initially, and what I've been saying is, my biggest issue with my build, if you decide to copy my playstyle, is enemies walk out of the radius too much, right? So you would typically only throw this down if the enemy is downed, but you can just throw it in the start of the fight. I have good ult placements for the most part and keep everything applied. So when I come through, you know, I'm usually always applying my needles and stuff like that. And this is why I like hypothermia a lot, because even if the enemy slowly gets out or I miss my ult placement, they're just going to be taking continuous dot ticks at all times. That's why hypothermia to me is just flawless, right? It's just absolutely amazing. I also just realized, before someone like yells at me in the comment section, that I didn't have my clairvoyance in my hand when I popped my blood. Let me do that again. So we can look at those damage numbers before someone gets mad at me in the comment section. Be like, this guy's biased. Nah, dude, I love cold-bloodedness. Just to let you guys know. So don't hate me in the chat. All right, just don't hate me, okay? That's what the damage numbers look like right there with cold-bloodedness and clairvoyance in hand. It's like 1.17 mil, and then 150 mil explosion. Did I say 150 mil, bro? I meant 1,150,000. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to troll you with the numbers and lie to you, okay? 1 mil, 150,000, not 150 mil. Please don't yell at me. I'm very sensitive. I'm a very sensitive guy, okay? All right. So now that we broke down all of that, I hope that showcases this build. I want to actually showcase to you how I put the fight in practice. So we're going to just like pause the video, and then I'm going to go straight over to Pyromaniac. So let me switch back to my hypothermia. Hypothermia. Boom. And we're going to just go to battle, Pyromaniac, start a private. Let's hope I don't get wrecked. All right? I'm not trying to get embarrassed here in chat. This is hard mode Pyro. Just gonna run up to him. Put my ice needles on him. He's already about to get frenzied because, of course, he is. Why isn't he? Staggered him already. It's not like that damage. Raged. Run past him. He's just dancing around me real quick because he doesn't want to die, of course. Just wait. We're just waiting for him to unfrenzy. As much as I'd love to keep shooting him in his back, I'm doing a solo, so there's that. We got some good damage right there. Alright. Now, we're going to put our ice needles back on him. We're going to immediately hit him with the beam, avoid gaze. He's not liking that damage. Not running away, so I'm going to snap my ult on top of his body here. Put some more chill resistance on him. He's going to enrage once more again because he just loves being enraged for some odd reason. He just absolutely loves getting enraged. Do. Alright. Guy has a massive hard on for me, bro. Got my ult down on top of him. He's knocked. I saw that massive chunk of damage came off. We're just gonna hit him with that right there. Ice needles again. That chill resistance goes crazy. And just like that, he's dead. So, massive burst of damage right there. Forgive me for dying in the beginning like a little noob. Unfortunately, I'm playing really bad right now. But hopefully that showcases the huge chunk of damage in this bossing build and just what it's capable of and how I like to play my my Viessa. So again, depending on what kind of module sets and stuff like our component sets you get, you can choose how you want to tweak the components to your liking. So for me, I want more defense and stuff like that, or more max HP. I don't really mind too much what I currently got. I can make it work. If I wanted more survivability again, which again I would usually run my my spear and shield for the increased skill power, because it's only a slight reduction in damage. Like I'm talking like a few thousand damage or some shit like that between Glacial Synthetium and Spear and Shield. So if you really wanted to use Spear and Shield over Glacial Synthetium, you can. Just for the more the defensive survivability, you don't die like I did, because I'm just playing bad right now. Like that's all it is, man. I just got on, just wanted to record this video. But hopefully that showcases how Viessa is. If you like the video, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and also follow me over on Twitch, where you can find me live every day, where I can answer your questions and also just get trolled by you and the rest of the community, because the community just loves trolling me, because you guys are so mean to me, bro. I almost forgot. I'm so sorry to talk about the other sets that you guys can use too. So going to component sets, it's not just a Polar Knight set that you can use for Viessa, because I understand it's not always ideal and sometimes we can't get the best stats, or you want to tweak some areas. So let's talk about set combinations really quickly that I almost forgot about. So I made a list. So one component set I'd recommend is Acrobat set. This set right here, external components. If I type in Acrobat, this is a good one, right? So what the Acrobat set does is it gives you skill power 1.7% as well as firearm attack of 2.8%. So this is a good substitute for those who can't get the Polar Knight set, right? So if you can't get the Polar Knight set, I would recommend the Acrobat set because it's going to give you skill power, firearm attack, as well as firearm critical hit rate and skill critical hit rate. And this is where you can actually substitute the modules inside your Viessa and get rid of one of the skill critical mods and put on like whatever other module you want. This is a set I would throw out there. I know it's a purple. I know you're gonna be looking at me like, you really want to put a purple set on? I know. But hear me out. It may be purple, but it's not too bad. This is just an option for people that just can't get Polar Knight, or maybe, you just want to just switch it up because you want to just invest in other areas, and this is probably like your best investment, right? I think Polar Knight is the best in the slot, 100%, but there are other options. So Acrobat is one. So you could do a two-piece combo. So one two-piece combo you can do. Maybe you might want to do. Maybe you want to be a little bit weird. You want to do like two-piece Polar Knight, two-piece Acrobat, which is pretty nice. So that way you get the chill skill power, and then you also get regular skill power plus firearm attack. You can do that, which is kind of cool, right? So you get increased skill power with firearm attack for your clairvoyance, as well as chill and all that good jazz. Or you can do Polar Knight plus Annihilation set, which will be chill. It'll be actually Annihilation right now. So Annihilation set. This is another one I'd recommend. This is pretty much Glaze set. You can get skill duration plus the chill skill power, which would be kind of nice. Or maybe you can do Acrobat and Annihilation set for the skill power plus the firearm attack and skill duration. So your abilities just last a little bit longer, right? You won't notice it too much on Viessa, I'll admit. But if you're building a lot of duration on Viessa, then you'll notice the boost. Yes, you'll notice the boost then if you have a lot of duration modules on her. So this is something I will throw out there for those people who are doing it. But if you're just running just the 5.7% and no duration mods whatsoever, I'll be honest, it's not going to be worth it. So that's a two-piece combo set right there that you can do. Cold-bloodedness will also work really well with the two-piece set for this, for the skill duration plus well, kind of, yeah, kind of, because like technically, like the skill duration, if you run duration mods and cooldowns, it's kind of like building infinite glay, but for Viessa. So yeah, it kind of works on paper at least. So this is something I'll throw out there for you. Another one I would probably recommend is nope. I think that's it. Everything. I think that's it according to my notes. My component sets. That's about it. The Frozen Memory set, I mentioned it in a previous video for Viessa and how I thought this was great. Or Frozen Heart, sorry. And the reason why I was mentioning Frozen Heart is because I was like, Frozen Heart will be really good with Blue Beetle. But the only downside to this is I forgot what other. I could have swore in my head, right? I saw something for that you can do, whether it was a weapon or a module that grants your allies like a buff, right? The Frozen Heart set, it gives you Scout Rifle critical hit rate, yes, but it says granting a buff to allies as a stack of Frozen Heart energy. So the issue that we have here, and the skill cooldown is great and all, which it's not a bad set because skill cooldown, awesome, you can spam your abilities. It's just getting the buff, right? Buffing allies. That's the part that I find is going to be very difficult for you with Viessa. And I thought in my mind that I saw something before. So if I find it again, because I've been looking at so many different things, if I find it again and it wasn't like just me just misreading something in the past or whatever, I would say this is a good set for Viessa if you run Blue Beetle, right? Because then you get the skill critical hit rate of 28%, as well as the firearm critical hit rate and all that jazz, and skill cooldown, which is awesome for her. But I just don't know. But all right, that's it. That's it. Now the video's done. Had to come back in. Almost forgot about the components. Good thing my dumb brain kicked in at the last minute. I was like, oh wait, oh I forgot something, and I remembered. So love you guys. Now I'm gone. Peace out.